Hi, finally.
Hello. How are
How
you,
are
Esther?
you? I am very well, thank you very much.
Very good. Very good. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure. Sorry.
So
So,
how's the new year for you?
amazing.
Okay. Okay. The last time we talked was before Christmas. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. It's strange. The year is already 1 month gone.
I know, right?
Time just flies, you know. So
What it is.
yeah. So what have you been up to? I
Well,
see things online.
walk, walk, walk.
Walk. So
That's
let,
it.
let's do this. Let's do this. So you do walk. What is the work? Okay. So
I'm a journalist.
introduce yourself to my audience. Tell them your name, your whatever you do. Yeah, let's go.
All right. My name is Esther Ijewere. I am a journalist, a women's advocate, and sometimes a blogger.
Okay.
And a brand influencer. I love to spotlight women, accomplished women, professional women, grassroots women. As long as you're adding value to the society,
Okay.
you are my person, right? So that's my niche, basically, spotlighting and celebrating women as a journalist. And I've been doing that since 2015.
Okay.
However, I've been into media advocacy since 2008.
Okay. Okay. Wow.
So yeah, I mean, that's basically who I am in a nutshell, what I do. And I mean, I have strong passion for humanity. I love to tell stories, success stories. I love stories that are relatable to people. And that sort of like gives me this innate joy, right, to keep pushing, because I believe that when we share those stories, we're not only inspiring one person, we're actually empowering people. And that's where my strength comes from. So that's me in a nutshell.
Very good. Very good. See, as an only son,
Mhm,
with two younger sisters
mhm,
and three daughters of my own. So
mhm,
you are a person I want to listen to because
mhm,
your work might
mhm.
influence my daughters to do something interesting. You know?
Well,
Yeah. Good.
I'd be
Good.
glad.
Good.
I'll
Good.
be glad. I mean, I
Yeah.
have two daughters of mine too,
Ah.
and every day I live intentionally. I tell that to people all the time because we are in a generation where they learn so much on the internet.
Mm.
And I want them to learn from me first. I want my
Okay.
children to know they are beautiful before they go outside. I want my children to know that every time they walk into a room, they had the energy, and people would ask them, who raised you? Who is your mother?
Okay.
Right? And that's, yeah. So I mean, I share, your view, and I hope that your children, when they listen to this, they'll be inspired and they'll know that Daddy is doing a great work, and he's doing it because he's giving them a bragging right in the future. And they can go online. I tell my children, go online and tell people to Google your mother. No one asks you who your mother is, girl. Don't say nothing.
Google
Just tell
her.
them go. Just go on Google. Just type Esther Ijewere. That's it.
All
And I
right.
said, I think that's the stage we need to get to in the world, right? We
Wow.
need to leave. The whole idea of living legacy is not about you living legacy in wealth.
Yeah.
It is living legacies that would, help your children to thrive.
Mm.
Legacy where when your children are writing their resume and someone goes on Google to search for the name
Mm-hmm.
or their media footprints, they're seeing their parents on the internet as well. And they're like, okay.
Okay. Yeah, you're very right. You are very right. See, in fact, I've never told my daughters to Google me. I don't even know if they do.
Start doing it now. I mean it.
Yeah.
Because most of us we are too humble with our accomplishments.
Mm, mm, mm.
And it's not us, it's the generational thing.
Yeah.
That humility thing.
I agree.
But humility does not cut it anymore when it comes to being intentional. Because Elon Musk, despite the money, is on Twitter every day. He owns the platform, but he's like, listen, you guys are going to see me every day, whether you like it or not. So who am I not to
be there?
And you get what I'm saying?
I agree with you, and I will ask them very soon. Hey, do this, okay? So that you can know a little bit more something you don't know about daddy. Yes. That's interesting. Now, see, your journey to where you are today started somewhere. Okay. So I want you to highlight the beginning and the memorable impacts or activities that pushed you to where you are today.
My journey started from, I'll say, from when I was a young girl. For many years, I thought that my journey started when I was in university. But in recent time, I realized that my journey started from the home, when I would always ask my mom question. I would go to church as a young girl and I come back home, I'm downloading everything blow by blow, account, what the pastor said, the offering, the minutes, the time, and my mom would listen actively. Now, what did that do to me? Because I had a mother who was an active listener. Yeah. It propelled me to keep looking for answers, right? To want to be seen, I just had this nudge, I want to know something. I want to know about this topic. I want to know about journalism. And then my mom, being a civil servant, so they have these vendors who come to their offices, every Tuesday. Yeah. So she would buy Fame magazine. She would buy City People, every magazine in Nigeria, because they come out on Tuesday. So my mother would buy it. And then on the weekend, she would buy Punch, Guardian, like that. Ekene, listen, I sit and I read paper to paper, front to back.
Very good. Yeah. Many of us did at a time. In a time, many of us did that. Yeah.
Yes. And, I think that was where the inspiration came from, So I would say that my journey started from the four corners of my home. Yeah. And inspired by just that little heart of my mom, buying those. She realized that I took interest in them. So I had this person, my younger sister's friend, who also liked gist. So every time she comes around and then we're gisting about, so I read about Two-Face. Like, listen, I knew about late Fernandez when I was a young girl. Like, I would go and be searching newspaper for newspaper. Who is this richest man in Africa? And I'll be writing down his name when I start. And my mom would say, Esther, what are you writing? And she would go through and like, but this person does not know you. And I would say, mommy, because so that the next time Bookie comes, we'll have gist. So I can tell her that I found. So anyway, and then fast forward to university, and I started organizing events. Okay. At the university, at that time, there were beauty pageants, but they were not doing it for the media.
What school was that?
Olabisi Onabanjo University.
Okay.
State University.
Okay.
And, so then I was the only female in the midst of three men who were the core organizers of the event. So then I became a part of them. I became an assistant. And, my input was mainly because of my media background as well, right?
Yes.
And because they just saw that drive. So the moment we had our first meeting, I was already going into creative mode, ideation. So we can do it better this way. We can do this. And so we started organizing the Face of OU. That's the Face of Olabisi Onabanjo University pageant. And then we added an award to it, right? PG Awards. So we just called it PG Awards, meaning, so name any kind of award. We were giving awards to folks, we wanted to build a community where at least annually we bring the whole school together. And we're not organizing it in some shabby hall. Like we go all the way to Ijebu to like a, gateway hotel to rent the hall. We are looking at sponsorship. At that time, we had big sponsors like Calypso. We had sponsors from FCMB, banks, because we sold an idea to them that showed them, the ROI, return on investment. Like, listen, this is a school with a large number of people. So that was another part of my journey that I think, built me to becoming the person that I am. So, I mean, after my university days, I did that till I finished school. So people knew me as, oh, Esther, Face of OU, oh, Esther, PG Awards. So it means Esther was the go-to person. Okay, Esther, why didn't you add my name to the list of most sought after people? Esther, why? So there was that hell of, okay, this thing is a thing.
Yeah.
So I finished university, I went to camp. Listen, when you have it in you, everywhere you go, your light will follow you. When I went to serve in Jos, I did another thing, right? The school where I served, somebody call it Rob. It's in Plateau, Barrick Ladi local government. So I served at a secondary school. And while I was there, I realized a lot of the students didn't have exercise books. So I spoke to the principal and I said, listen, these children are using one exercise book for like 10 subjects. Like, they don't even write most of the time because they're trying to manage it. How do you want them to pass? So I called my friend in Lagos and I said, listen, we need to print exercise books, right? I would pay from my pocket. My mom felt I was crazy because I used my
yeah.
And then I printed 1,000 copies of the book.
Wow.
It was sent to me from Lagos. And that was it's a moment I will never forget in my life because the principal, the community, they actually took me to the community head, who's like an Oba in Lagos. Like, they were moved by my action. I didn't see it as anything because I'm a Lagos girl. We do these things all the time, right? But then in that moment, I realized, listen, I've got passion for humanity, really. It's in me, it's innate. So it comes to me naturally to just want to create change, to want to support people, to help people. And, we donated the book. And then, of course, end of service, I had to go. It was quite an emotional moment again because I had grown into a sister in the community.
Yeah.
I had become like a person most of these young girls would come to and say, hey, sis, right? And then, we finished service and, the rest of the journey, this is where I am. I ventured into advocacy, started my own NGO. And then somewhere along the line, I did realize that I have a flair for writing, that I was a good storyteller and a good, creative writer. And I always tell people that my journey into journalism, maybe for me, it's not the story for everybody, but when God has the purpose for you, he's going to break protocols for you, right? So I just sold Mr. Femi Additional, who used to be the SA to President Buhari on media and publicity. It was a Facebook thing. I didn't even need to call. Big bro, I'd like to write for Sono. See, there's a loophole here, we don't have women being celebrated in our newspapers. We have them being celebrated randomly, but we need consistency. Meaning, let us have a column where these women are celebrated every weekend, right? So I would read about, say, a top female banker this week. They probably won't talk about her till like 3 months. So why don't we have a consistent pattern where we're celebrating these women from different sectors, from tech, from banking, from bank. And it was like, whoa, Esther. At that time, he was in government. So he said, you know what, call up Osage, and that's the publisher at the time for the Sun newspaper Nigeria. And the rest is history, right? I walked into that office, he bought the idea, like, yes, we've been looking for this. So let's talking about opportunity, meeting preparedness, right? That became an equivalent task. I didn't go to school of journalism. So, and Sun is called journalism. So I had to.
What did you study?
I studied sociology.
Okay.
I studied sociology. I have BSc in sociology. I have a diploma in marketing.
Okay.
I'm a certified interpersonal communicator.
Okay.
I'm a certified, shelter and social worker. I'm a certified social worker as well. So, I've got a bit of.
And you are a journalist.
And I am a journalist.
Yes. Wow.
So I mean that was a thing for me, because when people talk about purpose and grace, oftentimes people say you've got to work for that purpose. Sometimes the work is the things you've done in the past. It will start manifesting in the future. So everything that I've done from when I was reading, remember I told you about my mom buying newspaper. It was the universe saying something into my future that I didn't realize. right, at that time. So when that moment came and I realized, listen, Esther, you are going to start writing for the Sun newspaper. So I had to go to my elders in the industry for tutelage, for knowledge.
For mentorship. Yes.
For mentorship, for support, like, okay, how, because I'm not the girl that would feel that I'm right. I was not raised that way. I was raised to always look back. I was raised to remember the ladder. I was raised to know that there are people before me, and those people would always matter. So I went back to them like, bro, this is a thing. So I would have session of, bit of journalism. I would have session where they would teach me about introduction, but right. So when it came to the part of, okay, what niche of writing do you want? I said, I want essay writing.
Okay.
I didn't want the normal question and answer because, again, I used to buy a magazine called True Love Magazine.
Okay.
And when you read True Love Magazine, they had the essay format of writing.
Yeah.
So meaning, instead of saying, who is Ekene? I am saying childhood or background. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Yeah.
What is the inspiration behind Ekene's show? I'm writing inspiration. You feel me? And I'm like, okay, are they going to accept this? Will they? No. Anyway, I submitted my first article. I had to go to Makoko, and that was sacrifice for me. I had to go into Makoko. That was the first woman that I featured, in Sun newspaper. I had to go to live interview. Now we do emails.
Yeah.
I had to transcribe on my own.
Wow.
To get this man to share a story. And because of the effort I put into that, the weekend editor was impressed. Like, whoa, first timer.
You are a journalist.
Yeah, like, you have it in you, and I'm going to give you all the support you need on this journey. This is a beautiful story. And then they published the story, and I didn't know what to expect. My uncle called me that Saturday morning and said, whoa, Esther, I just got some newspaper. I'm like, okay, let me wait for the other parts. And he said, you write this? Did you? I said, yes. And then he said, you mean you went to this Makoko? I said, yes. I was just waiting for the real feedback. And he said, listen, don't stop.
Very good.
Don't stop.
Very
That
good.
was it.
Very good.
Do not stop. And that was the energy I needed. And, of course, from Sun newspaper, I moved to Guardian newspaper. I became one of the columnists and contributors for Guardian Woman.
Yeah.
And so far, so good. I've featured over 1,000 women.
Wow.
Both on my blog and the newspaper. Yes. When I tell people that, I tell them, I say with confidence, go on my blog. The proof is there. The evidence is there. Mm-hmm. I am just not one of the people who is always out there, spreading a flag. But the truth is, I put in work.
Yeah.
So from 2015, believe me, Ekene, to say 2019, the doggedness was out of this world. I was, aside from my weekend article in the newspaper, I would always profile women. I was interviewing random women, building myself. So to a lot of people, they're like, she's doing too much. No, I was learning on the job. And the only way to learn on the job.
Fantastic.
You fail to succeed.
Oh, yeah. I
failed forward many times, but yeah, I am. Many years after, so many awards for that same Women of Rubies platform. That's the name of the column.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even count the amount of awards. I mean, I have been awarded with the woman, the Ebola woman, Dr. Stella, who sadly passed.
Yeah, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were in the same category of an award, and that was an honor for me, just because of my work. Like, wow, because I always tell people, when you go on my social media, I have featured at least 0.01% of women on every platform, from LinkedIn to Facebook to Instagram to Twitter. And when people ask me what is inspiration, I said, because I don't want to limit my light. Right? We all say, oh, we look up to Oprah. Yes, what we have now, Oprah didn't have it, but she made the most of it.
Yeah.
Meaning Oprah didn't have social media to push her work. Mm-hmm. Oprah only had TV. But Oprah made the most, and I said, I am going to make the most of my socials. Yeah. Meaning, I don't care about the likes. I'm just going to archive.
Okay. Let's dive in here. Mm-hmm. See, you have the women of Ruby. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, you have started writing featuring women before you form this.
Yes.
Okay. So tell my audience when you formed this and what actually made you say, wait, I'm doing this. Let's form an NGO or whatever, so that I can promote them better.
Okay, when you say this, do you mean the NGO or the Women of Rubies?
Oh, so there are two different entities.
So there is an NGO. The NGO handles the advocacy side of my work. Now, there's another part of my life, which is the advocacy, right?
Okay, yeah, we'll talk about that differently.
But the focus here is the Women of Rubies.
Yes.
And the Women of Rubies started from the Sun newspaper. So I had to, find a niche name for my column.
Okay.
I didn't just want it to be Esther Ijewere. I needed to build a brand. So I had registered my NGO called Rubies Ink Initiative for Women and Children. So Women of Rubies was carved out of Rubies Ink Initiative for Women and Children.
Interesting.
So I called it Women of Rubies, meaning it is still my signature.
Yeah.
Was then this time around, I'm using media advocacy to drive the vision.
Okay.
Right. So it started from the Sun newspaper.
Okay. So see, you're showing me that you're a brand manager, eh?
Well, listen, when these things fall on your lap, sometimes you've got to gain more knowledge. You got to brand yourself.
Yes.
Rome was not built in a day.
Yeah.
I always tell people when people say things like I put in the work. So maybe for me it's different. Some people I grew up in the face of the media. People had to watch me grow to this stage.
Yeah.
I'm talking about publishers, editors who knew me from when I was a young girl. Yeah. So now Esther is in the newspaper. So it's different. Like the gratitude for me, it's not I have arrived. No. I need to make people proud of me. So every day I wake up, I have that energy.
Yeah. Wow. So let's now go back to your advocacy. Okay.
Yeah.
See.
Yeah.
I get your. See, I want to talk about this in a different. You are a social activist. Okay. Women advocacy. I get. Now, I have a little bit. What's the word now? A little bit apprehension. Okay, when I hear about social advocates, okay, I have a little bit apprehension because I've seen so many advocates that I wouldn't like my children to follow. Okay, so tell me exactly what you are advocating for and why you do it.
Well, I advocate for the rights of women and children.
Okay.
I advocate for rape victims and domestic violence victims.
Okay.
Why do I do it? Once again, it's my passion for humanity.
Okay.
And my affinity for change. That's another, I mean, there's always a story behind everything that I do, right? So that, I had gone to Ghana one particular year. And, I think I went on Facebook and there was a story about rape. Then we had PM News there. And I'd seen the cover of the PM News someone had posted. And it was the story about rape. I remember I'd seen the story previously. Now, it was not a follow-up. There was no conclusive end. It was just a screaming headline to let people buy that evening paper.
Yeah.
I said to myself, wait, should we victimize victims again? Because when we publish these stories and we don't get them justice, what is the point? To what end? Okay, you sell the paper, the victim remains the same. Yeah. Right? And I said to myself, and it wasn't about PM, and it's just to put that out there. It was just a vacuum at the time. It was the way things were being done. My elders in the industry, who are stakeholders in the GBV, gender-based violence sector, they were also doing the work. So I said, I'm a young blood, right? Why don't I, start a campaign?
Okay.
Where we actually sensitize the society on the scourge of rape. Okay. The essence and the importance of people speaking out and reporting these cases. Let people know the laws, right? And also challenge and, in quote, hope government to do the needful.
Okay.
We have these laws. Why don't we have the scapegoats? Why don't we have these men locked up? Why do we need screaming headlines all the time with no conclusive hand? We need to start hearing that these men actually pay for their crime, that justice is served.
Okay.
These perpetrators are jailed. So that was what pushed me. That was where the inspiration came from.
Okay.
Right. So we started under the Rubies Ink Initiative, we started an advocacy project called Work Against Rape.
Okay.
It was the first in Nigeria at the time. The Work Against Rape campaign. So once again, when you come with an idea that perhaps a lot of people had been thinking about, and they're like, whoa, that's, then there was a Work Against Rape globally. But in Nigeria, with the capacity that I came in, I didn't say we're just going to have a walk. I said, we're going to have a walk with celebrities. I would be using celebrities as, vehicles of social change.
Yeah. Okay.
Meaning they would be the ones to front the campaign.
Okay.
People listen to them. People watch them on TV. Let them know, listen, I'm a safe space. If you've been abused, speak up.
Yeah.
Don't just speak up. These are the numbers to call. These are the places to go. Wherever you live in Nigeria, there is a place you can report.
That's very good. That's very good.
Affairs. So the first campaign we had, and believe me, we had over 2,000 people who came out en masse. And that took a lot of work from me and my team, meaning we had to go to market women.
Yeah.
We wrote to the Lagos State government. We had support from Lagos State Ministry of Women Affairs, Lagos State Ministry of Education. So in that work, we had not just market women, we had some students who were in their senior secondary, school level.
Yeah.
Also joined the work. We wanted a balance, meaning hear from the celebrities, hear from the students who are oftentimes affected in the home, in the community.
Yeah.
And of course, hear from these market women who are mothers, women at the grassroots. And there were professionals too, some brand sponsors as well. So we had some of these brand managers also speak at the, at the walk. And it was a long walk. You would have thought that Nigerian celebrities wouldn't want to have the walk. But I always tell people, when there's good media visibility, when there's a good campaign, because I went all the way with media, meaning everybody talked about Work Against Rape. The first year, they were excited about it. So we walked from the Archbishop Vining Memorial Church ground. That's quite a distance to Alausa.
Wow. Wow.
You said, wow.
All the way place from GRA.
Like as GRA to
very close to my uncle's house.
You bypass Okpebi, you bypass Allen. You are also going.
Wow. That's long.
Yes. And believe me, they all came out en masse.
That's good.
Nobody left till we get to the final destination. And that in itself drew the attention of the Lagos State government, the Ministry of Women Affairs. Who is this girl, right, that put this together? The commissioner came out to speak to us, right, to address it when we go to the ministry.
Yeah.
And there was branding. Listen, like I always say, when you've built a brand over time, don't need to say too much to people when you have an idea, right? All you need to do is to say, look at my antecedent. Look at the momentum I've gathered. So I think that worked for me, to be honest. And I'm saying this out there because I don't want someone to wake up and say they are having Work Against Rape. And then frustrated. Like, oh, but Esther said it happened. No, I always talk when I tell my story, I had to build my brand. So some of these celebrities don't even do that anymore. You don't see them jump on this because the internet is wild now.
Yeah.
Somebody can come for your work. The next day you are calling them out on Twitter. You are dragging them. So they don't do that, but I want to say I was privileged then to have them for the long haul of all the years we had, the campaign. So, I mean, we did that, and then we now evolved into taking the work to schools. Okay. Meaning the schools we know the students cannot participate. So we take, sensitization to them. Okay. With the Work Against Rape, a sub-project under that, where we take the celebrities to go and speak to the students. Okay. And we had a book, an information handbook that contained different help centers across Nigeria. The book at the time, the forward of the book was written by Honorable Abike Dabiri. Okay. The acknowledgement of, and I know that the Commissioner for Women Affairs, she also had a page in the book where she acknowledged my work. Okay. So already for every student who had the book, they know, oh, wow, this is a book that is endorsed. Yeah. And the book was also endorsed and supported by the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, Abuja. Okay. So we had the tools. All we needed was the location. So we had to go to different schools, across Nigeria to donate the book. You know, in some cases, when we can't find facilitators, we just go in and donate the book ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? We donate to the school, we educate the teachers on the need to sort of, in a subtle way, have sex education. Right? Let the students know that you are a safe space if they are being abused at home.
Yeah.
Right? Or even within the school and they don't want to speak up. Right? You know, before I knew it, Work Against Rape became a movement. So every year, before we even start, once we send an email inviting them, they're like, yes, put me in. What next? Right? So we had to, you know, ride on the momentum to make sure that it wasn't just about the work, that we're actually making impact. So we focused on the student. We focused on market women. So we go for these sensitization workshops. We go to have town hall meetings with community leaders in, you know, riverine areas like Makoko, where these people are not exposed to information and technology. We give them the book. We translate it to them in the language they're most comfortable with. And I mean, we still do that till now, right? But like I said, that's the advocacy side of me.
Yeah.
And everything is, there's an intersection with all my work, right? At the end of the day, it's still media advocacy.
Yeah.
From the advocacy that I do for women to spotlighting women, I am still targeting a particular audience, women and children.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And their families. So yeah.
Wow. You are doing a wonderful job.
Thank you.
When I was a teenager, my family lived in Bariga. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And
what part of Bariga?
Just outside CMS Grammar School.
Oh, okay.
Okay. That's my school, the school I went to. So yeah. And then, well, I encountered several incidents of rape. Okay. And there was a young man, my mate, who was a perpetrator in at that time. And yeah, so we know that many people who have suffered this crazy behavior is done by people they know.
Yes.
Most of them, okay, are done by people they know.
Yes.
Okay. And sometimes, not sometimes, most times, it's difficult for them to report. Okay.
Yes.
So this kind of advocacy will encourage more people to report.
Yeah.
And maybe it will also deter people who engage in it. Okay. But we know that things like this in human behavior, we cannot eliminate them, but we can certainly reduce these incidents.
Yes.
And then to help the victims of this incident. So I'm happy that you are doing this work. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Ekene. Thank you so much.
Wow. Wow. You are really working. You women of Ruby work. Yeah.
And there's also men who inspire, but let's go on with the show.
Oh, what? Tell me what's more? What more?
Let's go on with the show. We'll talk about that at the end of the show.
Okay. See, for me, this show is to talk about things that will impact Africa's development. Okay.
Yes.
So education, entrepreneurship, and other things, leadership. You know. What I have several concerns. Okay. And challenges I see. Okay. But I know other people might not see the ones I see, or might agree or disagree on what the ones I think are most important. So I want to hear from you, what are the most important concerns that you see about that will affect Africa's development in this century? Okay. And do you have a solution for that?
Yeah, gender inequality.
Okay.
It's a big problem. Luckily, you are a father of 2 girls, and I always tell
3 girls.
2 girls, yes.
Yeah.
So there's a huge gap, even at the workspace already. Let me start from the workspace when it comes to the roles that are given to women, right? Naturally, there are rules that go to men. I was at an event yesterday here in Toronto with top journalists from all over Canada. And it was actually a conversation, it was a thing, right? That we had to talk about in terms of these roles that are given to men naturally. Why, for example, should a man be the one to go cover a war story, right? Why can't a woman go for that story if she's capable of doing the job? Okay. And I think we need to sort of like seek balance in the world in terms of that. We need to start advocating for, more rooms to be given to women in the workspace, because when you look at, like, say, top 5 companies in the world right now, they are owned by men.
Okay.
But when these men want to talk, they would say, oh yes, but I have women as employees. How many women do you have as employees actually? How many? Right? We need to start knowing the figures. Right? Especially, let me use Nigeria as a case study.
Yeah.
You walk into a lot of banks, you see the women as a teller, right? They are the teller, they are the cashiers. But when it comes to the administrative level, the senior management, you hardly find women.
Okay.
So out of, say, 10 people, you probably would find, say, 3 women.
Now, I'll give you this. The bank I worked for in Nigeria, okay, there were more women, at the management level. See, I've worked in 4 different departments, okay? My bosses, I have 3 women bosses, okay? And I know we had a lot of women at high levels, okay? So it's not, maybe it's because I worked for...
That is one story.
One bank,
my report is a generic one, right?
Okay.
It's from the feedback generally right now. The reports we have online.
Yeah.
Right. I'm glad that you worked in that kind of environment. Your story is different. The truth is the narrative is different from a lot of people. Right. Women have to work twice.
Yeah.
To prove themselves at the workplace. We all know that.
Now you mentioned covering a war story. I'll ask you the question. Do women want to be there?
Yes. As a matter of fact, the journalist that was celebrated at the event I went for yesterday, her name is Lisa Laflame. She's a top journalist in Canada. She had to cover the Iran war, in Iran. When the World Trade Center, collapsed, she was there.
Okay.
Right. For her reporting. Now, she said when she had to go, she had to beg.
Okay.
To be allowed to go cover that.
Okay.
And that is because my gender is seen as weak naturally. Oh no, you can't do it.
Let's take it.
Yeah.
See, I want us to be sincere to ourselves. How many women actually want to do this? Okay, there might be 1 or 2. Okay, but how many women want to do this kind of things?
Well, Ekene, the thing is, the question we should ask is, how have we positioned women for that kind of job? So you are in the newsroom already, and the publisher is already saying, oh, John, Ekene, this, that, right? They are not asking us a question. Do you see? So if I am not asked, for example, and I'm in that newsroom, if I am not a person who is used to speaking up, I just accept.
Good.
You see that?
That's true.
And sometimes they don't want to lose the job. So when people are assigned for those roles, right, women don't want to talk because at the workplace, we don't want to be the angry woman. We don't want to be too confrontational.
I'll give you another one. I have 3 daughters, okay? I have 3 daughters. 2 teenagers. Okay. I beg them to do certain things. that I, as a boy, I used to do. Okay. But they don't want. My daughters, okay? I'm not talking about somebody else. My daughters, they do not want those things. Okay. Like I said, I beg them because I don't force anybody to do anything. But I thought, okay, if they do this, they will learn certain things. But they don't want it at all.
Well, I cannot speak largely to that. You know why? Because I don't know the values and beliefs of your home.
Okay.
I don't know, how they were raised, right? From childhood, what they've seen. Sometimes when children become teenagers, I'm a mother myself. And that's why at the beginning of this conversation, remember I said intentional living intentional, meaning every day from when my kids were like 4 or 5, I was really conscious.
Yeah.
Meaning I'm giving room for them to say, Mommy, I want to do this.
Yeah.
That's a different thing. But if a child had been used to being pampered, for example, from a particular age, they don't do those things. And then when you're a teenager and you're asking them to do that, like, I know. You see? That's why I said the dynamics of our homes are different.
Yeah.
And I always respect it. So I cannot speak to that because I'm not your daughters. I don't know their reasons for that. However, because I'm a women's advocate, because I'm in the news, because I listen to news and I know these generic things that we read online about the gender roles, I can tell you authoritatively that women are not asked to do. You are a father. You are raising children. No.
Yeah.
When those children are raised and they go into the world, that is where I'm coming from now.
Yeah.
Right? And they are seated with certain people and they are not asked if they can do it. So say, for example, you wanted to invite...
You say being asked. I wasn't asked to do so many of the things I did at work. I stood up, went to my bosses. In fact, I wanted, in my 3rd year, I worked for Citibank in Nigeria. In my after my 3rd year, I wrote an email to a senior person that I wanted to work with him. Okay. And then we went back and forth. He went to HR, all that. But 6 months after, I got the job. Okay. But so what I'm saying, that wasn't the only one I've done. Before then, I wrote an email to my CEO about something else. See, I was very proactive. Okay. See, so talking about being given something, I'm not used to be given anything. I go out to ask for it.
I would say this to you again, and I don't want this to be a gender talk because I know this is not the essence of this show. So I would humbly ask us to move on from this conversation. Because listen, you are talking to you are talking to an activist.
Yes.
We are always ready for any argument.
See, do you know what I said? I said I don't like activists.
So because you already have this bias for us, okay? Because anything I say, and I love the engagement, I love the fact that you have a different view.
Yeah.
But I'm also telling you that your view is your story.
Yeah.
You understand? It does not translate to the story of, say, 20 other people in the world right now. You got that? Now, so your work experience
overall, when it comes to all these issues about gender roles, okay, we actually need to dig into it, okay?
Yeah.
We need to dig into it in the sense that instead of us saying, like you said, people are assigned those jobs. I do not, in my own experience, okay, I grew up with a lot of cousins, many of them female, okay, in my house, okay, living with my mother and father. They come in and go, okay. My house was was a bus stop for everybody. Okay. Now, my family were not given a particular role. Okay, that this is what the boys do, because for me, I was the only boy many times. So, see, I know how to cook. I'm as good as a cook as anybody, any girl in my house. Okay, so I wasn't assigned not to cook. No. Okay, but the point I'm making is this: we need to actually look at if the women want to do all the things that boys do. Okay, because there are many things that boys do that are dangerous, hard, that many women do not want to do.
Well, when you say many women, once again, I would say that you should not speak for women. The problem is that the world is not listening to us enough, right? We need more shows like this, where we're specifically talking about gender roles, where we are bringing women to talk about their stories. Now, when you talk about media and the visibility women at the, at top positions get, oftentimes you're looking at the women who were privileged to be at, head Pepsi, for example, right? We're looking at Miss Melinda Gates, all right? We're looking at all these other women. However, I have a different view. Okay. I want to start talking to women who don't have the spotlight to talk about their work experience. Let us get that data, okay? The data that we get on the internet is why we're having this conversation, for example, right? Okay. Because your own experience, my experience, it becomes a narrative. Now, what about the narratives of people who don't have access to media? The woman who works in Bariga at that first bank, who goes to work frustrated every day, Ekene, but nobody to talk to because they are not giving her, they're not promoting her. And they are promoting Kunle, who sits beside her. Yeah. Right? Kunle has moved from one position to become ops manager. Before you know it, Kunle is the head of the bank. Yeah. Now, this woman started from cashier, tell her this, that. And Kunle is not, you see what I'm saying?
I understand, yeah.
Exactly. So when I talk about data, when I'm talking about gender roles, for me, I would rather focus on the women that are silent. Okay. Those are the women that the world has not heard from. And most of them will never talk because we are conditioned as women not to challenge stereotypes beliefs. We are conditioned because we don't want to be, I don't want to look insubordinate. I don't want them to think that if I lose my job, right? Yeah. So
I wish I could make my younger sisters conform to this, because my younger sisters overtalk me. My own younger sisters, they overtalk me.
Well. That's a family thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I do agree. I do agree that there are certain things that our society haven't handled correctly. Okay. And we need to dig into them. Okay.
Yeah.
And we need to be open to hear the facts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We need to be open to hear the facts. Now, let me ask you. You studied sociology, yeah?
Sociology.
Good. So please ask your former colleagues, okay, in universities to gather data. See, this is what a university should be doing. Gather the data. See, if they have done 200 different research, 300 written 300 research papers, by now, with me and you will not be arguing about these things.
No, because you're wrong.
Because the facts will out.
Ekene. Yes. You see this issue about gender role?
Yes.
Listen, there are some topics, there are some social issues in the world that would always be so. Yes. it is not because the world is not ready. No, the world is not ready for change, one. The world is ready for change in bits, not the change that would actually change the dynamics of the way people have seen the world. Okay, that's one. Two, once again, the people who you want to conduct this research, right? A lot of people, one, if you're talking about research, let me use Nigeria, for example. Ekene, people who are hungry, who have not eaten, there is poverty in the land. You really think anyone got time for that? So there is the place of privilege. So every time I'm having a conversation, I step back and I realize, okay, what privileges do I have for me to speak with authority? Okay, I've got the privilege, for example, say, oh, I'm in the media. I'm seen, I'm heard. Right? So every time I have a submission, I am conscious of the other woman who is looking up to me, who is probably a follower on Facebook with 100 MB, just to like my post and comment, but who is not even known in her community, right? She goes to work every day. She's speaking inspiration from Esther Ijewere, but she's not heard and seen. She would not come up to Esther to tell Esther that, oh, Esther, this is the issue I'm facing at work. She doesn't want to lose her job because Esther is a social activist. You see? So when we dive into this issue, where there are layers and layers, there is this privilege of social status as well that we're not even talking about. Right? Let me give you an example. The woman whose daughter was raped in Bariga and the woman whose daughter was raped in Lekki, two different people, different social status and social location. The way the cases will be handled might be different, but I know that we have good stakeholders in Nigeria who are not biased. But I am saying that other woman has money to push the case, for example, to say this thing, this man must go to jail. I don't care. I am spending it. But then the woman in Bariga, Ekene, she probably makes $2 in weeks. And when you go into these cases and they back out, it's frustrating for me. But then sometimes I get to see where they are coming from. This woman is telling you, Auntie, if I go with this case now, I don't want to waste, I want to go market. Every day I don't want to go court. Who will go buy my market? You see the challenge? How I go feed my children? See, let us forget it. Let's just, and
so what solution do you think? How do we solve that problem?
Continuous sensitization. Let's keep passing the message. Conversations like this. Let's keep having these conversations. Let's bring it to the front burner. Let those conversations also start from our family members. I tell people, sometimes the change starts from your family. The baggage you need to let go, sometimes it's actually your family as well. Start talking to your family, educate them. Okay, you're at work. How do you feel at the workplace? Are you seen? Are you heard? You see what I'm saying? That friend who works in a bank like you, you're asking conscious questions. Oh, what's up? It's not just the random, how is work going? No. How do you feel at your workplace?
In fact, let me give you one story. My younger sister, she'll be mad at me. Okay. But last year, she called me that she's got a new boss, that she wants to win, to get the job, blah, blah, blah. That what should she do? Okay. And I told her this, that. If you do this, you get the job. Okay. Now, my sister, she didn't do the things I told her to do. And she didn't come back to me. So I needed to go back to her and ask her, what happened? She said, no, I can't do this. So yes, she said she wanted the job, but once I told her what was required for her to get the job, she didn't want to do it. I'm talking about my own sister. Okay, so I've given you examples with my daughters and my sisters. Okay, so I'm not talking about anybody I don't know. I'm talking about my own family. And I know how we were raised.
Listen, let me quickly jump in and tell you that because we are Nigerians, right? There are some conversations where we will never meet at a particular level.
Okay.
Because we were all raised based on either our community,
okay,
location, family, background. So when we have conversations like this, once again, I always step back and I put all those things into factor. Okay, do I want to argue with somebody who is earning, say, 5 million naira? You know what I'm saying? Per week. Because that conversation is different. You feel what I'm saying? He's not talking from a place of, oh, Esther who earns per hour. He's talking from a place of, girl, listen, this is possible. It is possible because you are privileged. If I am seated right now with Tony Elumelu, the conversation is going to be different about gender roles, right? He's going to come from his company, he's going to use his company as a yardstick to drive this argument, for example, to say, oh, yeah, I have 2 women at the top position at Tony Elumelu Foundation. Most of our banks have, you get what I'm saying? So when we look at the generic, that's we going out of our privileges, of our social status, of our social location, ethnicity, which is another topic we have not even delved in. That also play a role. Yeah. There are cultures in Nigeria where women are not supposed.
What we are talking about, society. Yeah.
Yes. So what I'm saying is sensitization. It is a continuum, right? We are talking about it today. You're going to post this. It's your podcast.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody, 2 people, 3, 4 would listen and start asking those questions from the female around them.
Okay.
To see, how is your work going? Are you seen and heard at your workplace? Do you feel in any way that you're not given, the position that you deserve?
Why do you ask that kind of question? See, because that question, for example, is what's the word? It's not open-ended. Okay. You are telling them what they should talk about. Why don't you open it? Hey, how is the first question is open-ended? How is your work going? And he talk.
Well, that is the first question. Yes, I didn't say we're going to rule that out. I am saying we need right to do and go beyond just asking that open-ended question of how, it's the same way I've told people now, stop asking people, how are you doing alone? How are you? Yes, how are you really doing? Because COVID and lockdown in a way has conditioned people to keep silent when they're going through pain. So don't expect generic answers. And when you get the generic answers, question it. Oh, great. Okay. Oh, you're good. Everything okay? Family, work, that. I do that. So I'm not asking anyone when you give me the generic answer and I feel comfortable, then I leave the conversation. But then I'll check in with you again, right? And I'm saying this to you because post-COVID, a lot of people, they worked from home for 2 years. Yeah. They're not used to human interaction again. Yeah. People are dealing with stuff, they don't want to talk about it. Listen, people were on lockdown, right? So I am very conscious of empathy in conversation. I am very conscious of humanity when I have conversations with people now, because the lesson that I learned from COVID is that beyond everything in the world, humanity first. Okay. Like that thing dealt with us, and we saw in real time people dying. World leaders could not even contain it, and it humbled a part of me. Yeah. So now when I'm engaging my friends, I've not heard from you, example, Ekene, I've not heard from you, you're my friend. Hi, how are you really doing, Ekene? And I say, good. No, that's not enough for me. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm going to ask the next question. Family, work, everything okay? Right? And then you say, oh yeah, everything is fine. And if you feel, the need to open up, then there is a conversation, right? Meaning in that moment, I become a support system for you, right? So So
see,
so I'm just saying that
the only reason I push, okay, that's what we need to do, okay. Ask the question, push, because we
so
need
many people are not happy. Yeah, I know we came here for a particular issue, but when it comes to humanity, people are not happy, right? A DJ who, okay, let me use him as an example, Twitch, who was a DJ on Ellen's show for many years, woke up and killed himself. I was telling my friend the other day, I said, it is because the world is kind and toxic in same vein, meaning the same people who want you to succeed, they are challenging your level of success. So this is a DJ who used to be on a major show, a daytime show. and life happened to everybody on the show. Now he's not getting the gigs anymore, right? He's dancing and dancing on TikTok. There are people who can be nasty in the comment section. We don't even notice. And maybe this man, for some reason, thought about it like, no, nobody's even asking me how I am doing. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes we feel that the people, you and I, who have a voice, we have it all. People don't ask those core questions.
Yeah.
So beyond the conversations, beyond, the challenges or whatever we're trying to, address here, the problem we want to solve with this show.
Yeah.
For me, after this show, I am also concerned about Ekene, right? Oh, the person who brought me on his podcast, I hope he's fine, right? I do that a lot consciously. Oh, I'm sending him light, right? So maybe that young man, for example, just the way we're having this conversation, I'm asking people questions. People were asking the wrong questions. So what next? Listen, I'm taking a break. And there's a lot of what next, what next? I'm like, I'm taking a break. The show just ended. You guys let me breathe. And he couldn't handle it anymore.
Yeah.
Because the expectation perhaps was too high. From Ellen, there is no way we would have a show with Helen and go and become a rat in a radio station.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Or a line manager.
See, life happens. And it happens to all of us.
Yeah.
But we need to learn how to, as individuals, learn how to adapt, and as a community, learn how to adapt. And part of that adaptation as a community is what you just said, asking people, hey, are you okay? And it is very important. It is very, very important.
Yeah. We need to, I mean, like I said, once again, we came here for something else, but I mean, this is a podcast.
Yeah.
Anyone could be listening, they could be down and they want to listen to your podcast. So I want them to also know that we are still human enough to understand that beyond this topic of, discussion today, we acknowledge that whatever pain you're going through, you matter to the world and you should talk to somebody. And I do that a lot now. So I'm not, I have a show as well. And every time I bring on a guest, I insert that. Checking with people who join my show, because you never know. You're talking about money, you're talking about wealth. Somebody is depressed somewhere in Makoko or Ikotun, and they're hearing all this big money. They don't realize that you walk to that level to get this money. So in their mind, they are already depressed, like, when will it be my turn? Maybe people, I will never have this kind of money, right? Immediately, I'm telling people that, listen, whatever position you are in life, you also matter. So even if the only thing you have in your account is 5,000 naira, please be grateful, right? Just look for ways to, multiply that money. So I'm just putting it out there, because I know we got into this whole gender roles thing.
No, it's good. It's good. It's good.
Someone out there too, who perhaps, is a man and is not given the opportunity at the workplace. You also matter, right? Just because I'm a woman doesn't mean that I don't acknowledge that men go through these things as well. However, I always have to speak and be at the forefront
as
of
an advocate of women. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
Well, I advocate for men too, but
okay, that's good. That's good. That's good. Thank you, Esther.
Thank you.
You see, a lot of my audience are young Africans, okay? And for me, they are the most important people for me, okay? Because they are the ones who do all the work to develop Africa, okay? Now, for them to do that, each of them need to contribute like you have, okay? To their community. So what advice would you have for them to enable them to contribute the little bit that they can do for their communities?
The first thing is to find your purpose. If you don't have a purpose, you can't support your community. Then it becomes a hobby, whatever you're doing. If you have a purpose, you are doing something, you are contributing to the community, then it becomes a job. Right? Either you're making money or not, right? My own thing is I tell people where I grew up in Alimosho, find your purpose.
Alimosho. Okay. Okay.
What part of your purpose can serve humanity? For example, Esther Ijewere's purpose is serving women and children.
Yeah.
Esther Ijewere's purpose is serving women in media, because there are women who are going to hear the story today about Esther, sojourned into journalism,
Yeah.
and how that opportunity, fell on her laps, right? And she had to maximize and learn on the job. So my thing is find your purpose. It is very, very important. If you don't find your purpose, you're going to be a floater in the world, right? You are just going to be everywhere without any direction.
Yeah.
So find your purpose. And once again, passion is not enough. Passion is not enough. If you use passion to drive your goal, you will not make money. If you are only passionate, it becomes an hobby. So passion is not enough. Look for ways where you can monetize, the skills
Whatever
you have,
yeah,
the knowledge you have. How can I monetize it? Can I sell an ebook, for example, right? Can I write for a newspaper and get paid? Can I become a brand influencer, right? Can I, offer value to people? And I always tell people volunteer.
Yeah.
So it's a big issue with young people. You don't want to volunteer because you don't want to be used. Listen, everybody you see at the top, they've been used at one point in their life.
Exactly. Thank you.
So either you like it or not, people are going to use you. You will also use people, either consciously or unconsciously.
Yeah.
My thing is volunteer.
Yeah.
Reach out to people. I always tell people, instead of always asking for help, what can I do to help? Listen, you want to get me? That is the first thing. People do that now. Miss, hi, please, how can I support your brand?
Yeah.
And you already you have the ticket, the open ticket.
Yeah.
So with that open ticket, and I'm like, oh, okay. Can you help us share our post every time we post something on my page, on my business page? I'm like, oh, no problem, ma'am. Right? And you're giving me feedback. Ma'am, I shared this post today. I shared with my community. The next thing I'm asking you is, so what do you do? How can I be of help to your goal? You see, now there's a balance.
Yeah.
But a lot of you all always want to say, oh,
they want to give me. Yeah.
And don't have user mentality. Okay, listen, to those of us who have been there, done it, we've been through certain stages, in life, we have lived experiences, we've been used, betrayal, pain, and all of that. When you come with that user energy, people are going to know.
Yeah.
So don't go to people because you want to use them. Go because you want to add value. There is nobody who brings value to the table who is not heard and seen. Nowhere in the world. If you bring value, people are going to look for you. Also, don't just strive to be popular. Be relevant. Let me break that down for you.
Yes, please.
The difference between popularity and relevance is this. Sorry, I'm going to use this person as an example.
Come on.
I have to use him. And that's Ronaldo. Now, Ronaldo is not just popular. Ronaldo is so relevant that he could go to a Saudi Arabian club when people were squinting like, oh, from Manu to that. But no, his relevance and his influence is what they are riding on.
Yeah.
Because he didn't just build a path in a career path in soccer and football. He built himself as a brand, meaning if football ends today, if this career ends today, brands are going to call me for endorsements.
Yeah.
That is relevance.
Okay.
Meaning when people are not clapping for you anymore, relevance is going to seek you out. Something happened to me recently, and I'm like, why was I called for this? And I'm told, like, girl, we searched for you. We saw your PR page. We saw the work that you're doing, and that's why we're inviting you. And I'm like, whoa. You see, relevance will seek you out, even on days where you feel nobody knows you.
Wow.
Your relevance, your impact will speak for you in rooms. But when you chase popularity, you just want to be there for momentary reason. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I just want them to see me. This person is doing this. Oh, okay, Esther is writing for guidance. Okay, you begin now. They give you the opportunity.
The gig.
You have the drive.
Yeah.
You have the patience, because Esther did not just happen, right? Esther had to go through a lot. Just because I've shared it and make it look easy now on this podcast, because I want to be positive, there are other negatives too that I cannot share. Those are the things that made me think.
Yeah.
So now I have made a name for myself, and I always tell people, try and also separate your name from your brand. So Women of Rubies, when people say Women of Rubies, before they know it's owned by Esther Ijewere, it's owned by me, but Women of Rubies can stand on its own.
Very good. Very good. Very good.
So you have to search for who owns Women of Rubies. And I like that. However, if you meet Esther Ijewere, already you are knowing, oh, Esther is Women of Rubies. You see that? But Women of Rubies, however, is on its own.
Yeah.
And I like that. So,
Yeah.
and I tell people, make sure you are able to separate that, or else you're going to have a problem in the future. Because when you want to evolve into another career path,
yeah,
you want to evolve to another stage in life, because life would always happen to people. You only know the beginning of the journey. It might be difficult for you to evolve. Now, I've told Ekene today that I'm a social activist, I'm a media girl, I'm a journalist, I'm a blogger, I'm a brand influencer. Why? Because every time I'm open to reinventing myself as a brand name, Esther Ijewere. So if tomorrow you see Esther on TV and she's reporting weather, it's not going to come as a surprise, because you know that this lady has paid her dues in this industry, right? And she's evolving into this. So those are some of the things that I'm going to tell you, because I'm talking about the things that I see out there. That's why I'm bringing my advice from there. See, don't use people. Don't use people.
You just gave my audience a lot of things to think about. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
No problem. They should.
Yeah.
They should think about. We need to raise well-rounded children.
Yeah.
We need to raise a generation that will do better than us. We need to raise people who can do it better than us, right? Yeah. And I tell people, do it better than us. Do it better than me. When I meet young girls, I have a mentee who is flying high in Nigeria right now. She's in Abuja. She has, and I love it. I'm like, yes, the things that I couldn't get right, this girl is getting it right. Into boardroom and she's calling the figures. I couldn't do that because I was scared. Like, she's coming back to tell me, Mama, this is the amount I asked them to pay me for this project, and they paid me. I'm the one negotiating. I didn't have that negotiating power, right? Yeah. So we want you guys to succeed. The idea of the older generation not wanting you to be there, it's a lie. It's the lie. What is your energy? The energy you are bringing to the older generation.
Yeah.
Are you bringing the energy of a user? Are you bringing the energy of a person who just wants to come and take from them and move? If that is the energy you've been manifesting, believe me, help will not come to you.
Yep.
But if people see that you are genuine, if they see that you actually want to learn from them, and don't compete with people. That's another thing. The whole competing with people you should learn from. Stop it. A lot of young people do that. You want to compete with your elders. No. People always say that you can never have as many rags as an elder.
Yes,
right?
rags as you. Yeah.
Yeah. So the new clothes you have the Louis Vuitton of now. The Louis Vuitton of then is a vintage brand now.
Yes.
You see? So when your home is sold for $1,000, the elder can bring theirs and say, Louis Vuitton, this is what I have. So turn it into a vintage product, and they're getting more. So every time you walk into a sector, whatever sector you represent, remember the people who were there before you.
Yeah.
Acknowledge them. Acknowledge them. Don't come online and start dragging people you should learn from. Some of us who are in the media, the moment I see that you are into drama, Ekene, I don't care.
You're on.
What work you do. I don't care who you serve, right? The moment I know you call people out, you disrespect people online, I'm not going to touch your work. I'm not going to feature you. No. No. Wow. I don't care, because you cannot mix drama with purpose. You've got to choose and hustle. So if you want to be dramatic, be dramatic. If you want to choose your purpose, let us know who you are, so that if I feature you tomorrow night in Guardian and you hear one story about me that is not true, you will not drag me on face.
Yes. Wow. Thank you very much, Esther. Let me ask you my final question. See, me and you are outside Africa. Okay. But I'm sure, like me, you are looking at Africa and envisioning something different. You want Africa to be mighty. Okay. So tell me, what's your vision for Africa in the next 30 years' time?
I want an Africa that'll be better than America.
Woo! That's big. Okay.
Yes. And I know it is possible. I want an Africa that people are going to respect its currency. Right now, people don't respect our currency, either Naira or whatever currency. Either, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People, we've not gotten to that stage. So I want an Africa that will be better than America. So I think that's an all-encompassing answer.
Yes.
Structure, infrastructure, good economy, health, education, everything all-encompassing. An Africa that is working, right? We don't need to start separating the countries working. Let us work as a continent together, because America as a whole, regardless of their challenges, it is working.
Okay.
Right? So we need to get to that stage where investors can comfortably come into the continent to say, okay, I'm bringing this franchise to Nigeria, to Ghana, to Rwanda, to Kenya, because now what they do is to pick and choose.
Yeah.
So brands are like, would rather go to Ghana because of safety.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Would rather go to Kenya because the people are cool. Would rather go to some, Eastern country because they are not negative online. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we need, the narrative has to change. And I know that it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I know.
It's a lot of work. Yeah.
But
we need to do it.
Wish.
Yeah.
It's a wish and it's a question. So I answer the question the way that and I know somebody will listen and say, oh, sleep there. Well, the truth is, if it is not our generation, it's going to happen with one generation. I am positive.
Yeah.
That in this lifetime, Africa is going to be respected than it is right now. Okay. And we're not going to be the people who the world is handing down stuff to.
Yeah.
So the used clothes coming to us. No, let's start exporting used Ankara and lace and all those batiks that we wear to our parties.
Yes.
Let's start branding them too and sending to the abroad.
Okay.
You see?
Yes.
Yeah, because you don't have to always be the guy that's, gets the little meal on the plate. Yeah. Yeah. And that's what we've conformed with since generational, since, time immemorial rather. So yeah.
Wow. That vision is massive.
It's huge.
But I know it's possible. Achievable. Okay, it's possible.
It's achievable. It's possible. I just want to delve into it because some leaders have to go too, but I don't want to go into that.
Esther.
Thank you.
This conversation has been very, very interesting. And I thank you for being a great guest.
Thank you.
Think Big for Africa podcast.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for your patience. And to those listening, before you search for me, when you say, maybe this girl only supports women, I have a platform for men. So let me quickly put that out there.
All right.
I have a gender balanced, career, so to say.
Okay.
So I have a platform where I celebrate men. I have celebrated over 2,000 men on the platform. It's called Men Who Inspire.
Okay.
So I'm putting this out there because when people meet me, there is a feminist boundary they are giving me already. The activist thing, like, you hate men. No, I don't hate men. Please, I don't hate men. However, I am aware that my gender is always at the receiving end of a lot of things, and we don't talk, right? So just saying.
Okay, so you know what? Do this for me, okay? Mm-hmm. Send me all the links to your platform so that I can put them in the show notes, okay? All right. No, thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Have a good one.
You too.
Bye.